Hi, I'm Barb Cook. I'm an author and awareness facilitator. That's my quick way of saying that I offer various modalities to help people who've had enough of being stuck in old patterns and are curious about the opportunity for growth. This vlog episode is called What Kind of Parent Are You to Yourself? Part 3, the put down list and the payoffs. You can find the written article in a publication called Know Thyself, Heal Thyself on medium.com. In my previous spilled makeup story about my travel companion Ellie, I explored the triggering event that flushed up old unconscious stories in her head. I observed how she was keeping the stories going with her internal parenting talk, and how she might make a choice to change this to support and heal her inner child. You might not have her clumsy klutz story going on, but do you ever keep parenting yourself with less than helpful internal dialogue? Are there any words or judgments you use to shame yourself? Let's talk about the put down list. The internal judgment and shaming can happen when we've done something wrong. Some people will say we've exposed our failings or our shadow side. Yes, it is good to examine our behaviour and look to improve when we've made a mistake or not done the right thing. But there's a fine line between self-awareness and self-shaming. Here are just some of the many examples of negative self-talk that I've heard from myself, my friends, or my teenage students. Oh, I'm such an idiot. This is a stupid question, but I'm rubbish at technology. You've done the wrong thing again. God, I'm stupid. I'm such a bad friend. I'm no good at this stuff. Oh, I'm not at all creative. Oh, I'm pathetic. Oh, I'll never learn. I'm not clever like them. God, this just proves I'm a bad person. I'm just a weakling. And other comments involving swear words that I can't repeat here. In our culture, it can be seen as funny and just plain normal to put ourselves down like this. It's even got a name that almost legitimises it. I once heard a comedian say that he specialised in self-deprecating humour. I looked up deprecate, to feel and express disapproval. I can sense another fine line between finding humour in being realistic about ourselves and sort of indulging in a subtle form of self-shaming. Can this be changed? Please don't talk to my friend like that. This is something I've sometimes said ever so gently to my friends or my students when I hear them say something derogatory about themselves. It usually brings them up with a start. They're kind of horrified that they've said those mean things to one of my friends. You may have had that response when you read all those negative and derogatory, nasty statements in the put down list above. Then I might say to them, you are my friend. This is what's being said to her. I might even go on to ask, those words you've just used, would you say that to your friend, your child, or even a person on the street? For example, if your best friend recounted something she'd done that was not so positive, would you say to her, you've done the wrong thing again. You're pathetic. You'll never learn. I'm literally inviting them to notice how they are parenting themselves. You don't have to change, but do you want to? You can't change the past or the stories you heard or developed for yourself at an earlier time. But are you interested in changing your current internal dialogue? Are you interested in cultivating a kind and compassionate relationship with your inner child and all of his or her failings? Are you ready to recontextualize them as mistakes that are helping you learn? Catching yourself. Witnessing the internal parent is the first step. The very first step to actually become aware of your self-parenting talk. Much of this inner dialogue is so habitual that it can feel like it's perfectly normal and completely true. Perhaps you have a friend might hear you saying this, they might, hearing you run yourself down, will rush in with well-meaning reassurances. Oh, no, you're not an idiot. Don't be silly. But if you're lucky, you might have a friend who will hold up a mirror to you. They might gently say, did you just hear what you said about yourself? Would you say that to me in that situation? If you don't always have someone on hand who can reflect this back to you, you'll need to develop a witness to your thoughts. The witness is what gradually develops through a mindful meditation practice or simply through self-awareness. Another way to witness is to notice when, like Ellie from episode 1, you have an icky feeling inside. A drop into anxiety or powerlessness, a feeling of being disapproved of or judged. There can often be an overblown, out of proportion reaction to something. You can suddenly feel quite young. That's the moment when you can choose to take a breath, take a pause, and ask, what am I telling myself here? You've caught yourself. Good job. You can, of course, stay there if you like. I've heard people justify their bad language to themselves by saying, oh, that's just who I am. I can't change it. Then I ask, what's the payoff? Being more loving and compassionate to ourselves sounds like a no-brainer. Who wouldn't want that? But there can be internal resistance to changing your self-talk. If this is the case, it can be helpful to ask, what's the payoff to this internal disapproval or harshness? What do you kind of get by keeping yourself locked in this identity set in stone? If you're resonating with this, I invite you to sit with that question. Let's not invite your thinking mind to come up with an answer. Instead, let's invite a feeling around this to arise from your higher self. Close your eyes, soften your breathing, and go into one of your meditations with this question in mind. What's the payoff? If I didn't keep talking to myself this way, what would that be like? What wouldn't I be getting then? What would it mean going forward? I could list a few answers I've heard from myself or others, but your answer will be unique to you. I'd love to hear them if you feel inclined to share. Making a choice. Having acknowledged if there's anything holding you back, you can now use those triggering moments as an opportunity to practice replacing the derogatory self-talk with something more helpful. You can literally change the direction of your life from here on. In making that choice, you will need to imagine a new kind of parent within. Imagine the gentlest, kindest, most loving and forgiving parent you can. He or she sees you and loves all parts of you, both the good and the bad, so-called. He or she understands that we haven't failed, that we're not perfect, and that making mistakes was and still is part of the learning process. They want to hold you, support you, and help you grow in every moment. So, what's the new dialogue? Close your eyes and imagine what a different kind of parent would say. Now say it quietly within. Say it out loud. You could write it down. If it was from my previous story, it might sound something like this. Dear Ellie, it's okay. It was an accident. You didn't deliberately leave the top off your makeup to make that big mess. These things happen to us all. It can be fixed. You're doing the best you can. You're perfect just as you are. You might have an idea of how to do something differently next time, or not. I love you. It might even be a deeper kind of shame or hurt. The dialogue that you newly say to yourself might be, it was not your fault. It won't happen in just one statement. It will happen incrementally, with one gentle new reassurance after another. Like baby steps, little by little, the old story, the old identity can be released. Little by little, a more kind and loving attitude to yourself arises. Stay tuned for the next episode of this serial reparenting vlog, in which I'll be sharing one of my own personal reparenting stories. I wonder if you can guess which of the put-down statements from that list I mentioned that I keep having to watch out for. If you've accidentally discovered this vlog and have found it helpful, I invite you to like, comment or subscribe to this channel. Apparently that makes it more accessible for others to find. If you'd like to go back and revisit some of the parts that resonated, you can sign up for my blog at my website, barbaracookauthor.com. And if you sign up for my very occasional newsletter, you'll be updated on any upcoming workshop or news. So bye for now.